consumers, and so innovation also sits at the heart of its success. The mobile industry. Mobile Monday is set to be a global community of mobile industry visionaries, developers and influentials, fostering cooperation and cross-border business development through virtual and live networking events to share ideas, best practices and trends from the global markets. And to talk us through some of the objectives, Jari Tammisto, CEO of Mobile Monday, joins us now live from our studios in Nairobi, Kenya. Thanks so much, Jari, for joining us this afternoon. Well, run us through Mobile Monday, what its strategy is and what you actually aim to achieve.
Thank you very much, Alicia, for inviting me all the way from Finland. Of course, in Finland it's minus 20 degrees, so Nairobi is a perfect place to be. So thanks for that. We live in a mobile society, but maybe the mobile ecosystem is not geared up to the mobile society needs. And that's exactly where Mobile Monday fits in. I used to work first 15 years in the mobile industry, sort of streamlining the business processes for the major players, the dominant players that dictated where the ecosystem is going. It was the operators, the network providers, the handset manufacturers. But today in the mobile society, the ecosystem is much larger, and it includes the customers, the SMEs, the innovators that have the behavior advantage over the giant companies, the operators. And we try to connect, we try to enable the small players to bring with their ideas to the large players and build the ecosystem totally transparent and enabling the growth of the industry.
Well, Jari, competitiveness in the industry is pretty high, and with that, players are always wanting to be a cut above the rest without blunting their own competitive edge. With that being the case, just how forthcoming do you see these players being when it comes to new ideas and innovation, which one would assume they would guard pretty aggressively?
Well, innovation and internationalization are very harmonious. So, of course, I think the big players try to protect their market, and many times that's the domestic market. They try to grow very large, connecting with the media, trying to connect with the content as well as the operator models. And I think that's protecting the status quo model. And in the future, they can't afford to do that. We will have a lot of global, international or regional service providers that are interconnected in totally different ways. They are not organizations, they might be communities. So what we like to say is that the communities actually dominate brands, and they dominate the dominant players in the future as well.
Are there any challenges that you see arising in terms of getting a proper network running and this functioning and achieving the objectives you've set out?
Oh, changing anything is it's a huge challenge. So I met with the local SME companies here in Nairobi last night, and we all agreed that we don't like to change things dramatically. We like to play with their current model and educate the players and get to know each other's interests. So of course operators, the dominant players, need to grow and they need to be profitable, and the other ecosystem needs to support that growth. So I think that's a learning curve that is happening very fast, because the demand is coming from the society, not from the dominant players anymore. So I think there are a lot of challenges. I think the Momo magic that we have created with the Mobile Monday globally is going to enable it that we share same values, we share same interests to provide really valuable content to the communities.
To what extent do you see this opening up investment in the sector, especially on the African continent, where you're focusing on these relationships between small and large companies and between local and foreign companies as well?
Well, I was very interested in November when I was in India, meeting with the Indian investors, Indian dominant players of mobile sector and the SMEs. And I informed them that I'll be coming to Africa. We will launch the Mobile Monday operations here in Africa. And the sort of interest, the spark of the Indian players to find partners here, to maybe co-create new things for the market, that was just enormous. So I think it's much easier in the future for the small player, the SMEs, or even the bigger players to get foreign exposure and to get foreign investments. And I think that's going to create the financial market in a different way, because it's not the known investors who actually guide the guidance of the innovation, but it might be totally investor from Finland or India or US that is interested, but we need to expose those ideas globally. We cannot leave them to the local market, because some great ideas might just die off because they don't find the right partners for it.
Do we have the right vision, the right concepts, the know-how, the right standards at this stage of the game in your view? Are we ready to even export, or is there much work to be done?
Well, I don't see any challenges in that, because the behavior here in the East African markets have been just enormously innovative. The companies, the people that I have met, they have just great ideas. They don't just know how to move forward. So I think that's a huge opportunity for the African companies to link up with the international companies. And we don't need to even export anything. We can co-create things with the foreign companies, and we can still work individually here in our own market, but maybe the services are created simultaneously for African markets as well as Indian or European. So I think that sort of community aspect is going to be the future and the enrichment of these services, because they will be international from the birth as well.